The notification from Wells Fargo lit up my phone at 2:17 p.m. on what should have been an ordinary Tuesday. Balance transfer complete, 127, 132 years. My hands started shaking as I stared at the screen. That was my college fund, the money my grandparents had saved for me since the day I was born. I'm Willow, and this is the story of how my family stole my future and taught me the true meaning of karma. I burst through our kitchen door, where my mother was arranging flower samples. Mom, what happened to my account? Why was all the money transferred out? She barely looked up from her peonies. Oh, honey, we needed it for Kirk's wedding. You know how important this is for the family. The room started spinning. That was my college fund. Grandma and Grandpa left that for me. And they'd want it used for family, she said, switching a pink flower for a white one. Kirk's wedding is our priority right now. He's marrying into the Reynolds family. Do you know what that means for us socially? I don't care about socially. That money was for my education. My voice cracked. How am I supposed to go to Stanford now? She finally looked at me, her expression hardening. Stanford was always a reach for you, sweetie. Community college is more realistic for your capabilities. Kirk needs this. He deserves his fairy tale. And I deserve nothing? I grabbed the flower arrangement, scattering petals across the granite countertop. Where's Dad? Did he agree to this? Your father understands family priorities, she snapped, gathering her precious flowers. And you're making a scene. A scene? You stole my future. We did not steal anything. She straightened her designer blouse. The account was in our name as trustees. We made an executive decision. I ran upstairs to find Dad in his home office, hunched over his computer. Did you know about this? He wouldn't meet my eyes. Your mother handles the finances, honey. That's not an answer. I slammed my hand on his desk. Did you know they were taking my college fund for Kirk's wedding? His silence told me everything. Back in my room, I opened my laptop, hands trembling as I logged into my email. There it was, Kirk's wedding invitation sent to the family group. I scrolled through the details. Luxury venue, five-course dinner, string quartet. My name wasn't on the guest list. My phone buzzed. A text from Kirk. Mom says you're being dramatic again. Don't ruin this for me. I laughed until I cried. Then I stopped crying and started thinking. The military recruitment pamphlet had been sitting on my desk for weeks. I'd picked it up at a career fair, mostly out of curiosity. Now I studied the benefits listed: full college tuition after service, housing allowance, health care, a way out. My mother's voice drifted up from downstairs, talking to someone on the phone about wedding centerpieces that cost more than a semester's tuition. I changed into jeans and a t shirt, grabbed my birth certificate and social security card from the lockbox under my bed, and walked out the front door. Mom didn't even look up from her phone call. The recruitment office was a 20-minute walk away. Inside, a sergeant looked up from his desk. Can I help you? I placed the crumpled pamphlet on his desk. I want to enlist. Today. He raised an eyebrow. That's not how it usually works. There's a process. I have my documents. I'm 18. I'm ready. I met his eyes, and I have nothing left to lose. He studied me for a long moment, then nodded slowly. All right, let's talk about your options. My phone kept buzzing in my pocket. Probably Mom realizing I was gone and wanting me to help with more wedding details. I turned it off without looking at the messages. The next basic training class starts in 3 weeks, the sergeant said, sliding forms across the desk. You'll need to pass the physical and ASVAB test. I picked up the pen. I'll be ready. This is a big decision, he warned. You should discuss it with your family. My family made their decision, I said, starting to fill out the forms. Now I'm making mine. As I signed my name, I thought about my grandparents. They'd worked so hard to give me a future, setting aside money from their modest income every month. Now I was choosing a different future than they'd imagined, but at least it would be mine. All mine. The sergeant took the completed forms. Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life, Miss Lane. I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in hours. No, just Willow. I'm done with being Ms. Lane. Basic training broke me down and rebuilt me from scratch. The first night, lying on my bunk after 16 hours of constant movement, every muscle screaming, I thought I'd made a terrible mistake. By week 3, I could do 50 push ups without stopping. By week 6, I was leading morning PT. Lane, Drill Sergeant Torres barked one morning, front and center. I sprinted forward, standing at attention. Yes, Drill Sergeant. Your mother's on the phone in the office. Family emergency. My heart stopped. Despite everything, they were still my family. I ran to the office, grabbed the phone. Mom, what's wrong? Willow, the photographer Kirk wanted for the wedding, is asking for a ridiculous deposit. I thought since you're not spending anything on college now, you could. I hung up the phone. That night, I did extra reps in the gym until my arms gave out. Sergeant Torres found me there, sitting on the floor, staring at nothing. Family's complicated, she said, offering me a hand up. Family's optional, I replied. She nodded. Then let's make you strong enough to stand alone. The years blurred together after that. Afghanistan, 2 tours. I learned to sleep through mortar fire, to carry wounded comrades twice my size, to make split second decisions that meant life or death. I earned my sergeant's stripes, then my staff sergeant's. The letters from home were rare and always about Kirk. His marriage was perfect, his job was perfect, his life was perfect until it wasn't. Your brother's divorce is killing your mother, Dad wrote in one of his quarterly emails. She had to sell her jewelry to help him with legal fees. You could call sometimes. I didn't call. My cousin Nadine was the only one who kept in real contact. Her messages were different. They're bleeding money trying to maintain appearances, she texted one night while I was stationed in Germany. Kirk moved back home. Your mom's still acting like everything's fine, but I saw past due notices in their mail. I was leading a training exercise when my phone buzzed with another message from Nadine. Kirk totaled his BMW. Your parents refinanced their house to buy him a new one. This can't go on forever. She was right. 2 weeks later, I received a thick envelope forwarded from my old address. Inside was a notice from the bank. Foreclosure proceedings on my parents' house would begin in 30 days. That evening, I sat in my quarters, staring at my service record and the commendations I'd earned. My GI Bill was waiting. I had savings, excellent credit, and a solid career path. I'd built myself back up from nothing. My phone rang. Mom's number. Willow? Her voice was trembling. We need your help. I let the silence stretch. The bank. We're going to lose the house. Kirk's staying with us. He's had such a hard time since Amanda left him. We don't have anywhere to go. I could picture her, probably sitting in her pristine kitchen, still wearing her pearls while her world crumbled. What do you want from me? I kept my voice neutral, the way I'd learned to deliver battlefield reports. You have your veterans' benefits. You could buy a house. We could all live together like a real family again. She paused. You owe us that much, after abandoning us. I muted the phone and laughed until tears ran down my face. Then I unmuted it. Send me the foreclosure papers. I'll see what I can do. Oh, thank God. I knew you'd come through. Nothing too small, though. Kirk needs his own space, and your father requires a home office. I let her ramble, opening my laptop to send an email to my old friend Drake from JAG Need legal consultation regarding fraud and financial crimes. Personal matter. Available to talk? My phone buzzed with a text from Nadine. They told me you're helping them. You don't owe them anything. I typed back. I know, but they owe me everything, and I plan to collect. Mom was still talking about house requirements, and obviously a formal dining room for entertaining. The Reynolds still invite us to events sometimes, and we need to maintain appearances. Of course, I said smoothly. Why don't you start looking at houses? Send me the listings you like. Sky's the limit. After hanging up, I opened my banking app and looked at my accounts. 10 years of combat pay and bonuses barely touched, more than enough to spring a trap. My commanding officer walked past, pausing at my door. Everything okay, Staff Sergeant? I smiled, thinking of my mother's voice, so confident that I'd fall in line one more time. Just fine, sir. Planning a long overdue family reunion. He nodded and left. I turned back to my laptop, where Drake had already replied, Free tomorrow. Let's talk about getting you some justice. I met my parents at their favorite coffee shop, the one where mom still insisted on charging $8 lattes to her maxed out credit cards. They'd aged in the past decade. Dad's hair had gone completely gray, and mom's carefully maintained blonde showed dark roots. You look different, Mom said, studying my military straight posture and practical haircut. War does that. I kept my voice light, watching them flinch at the W word. They'd never asked about my deployments. Kirk slouched and 10 minutes late, designer clothes wrinkled, eyes bloodshot. Hey, baby sis, heard you're finally stepping up. I ignored him, pulling out my laptop. Show me these houses you've been looking at. Mom brightened immediately, producing a folder stuffed with printouts. This one's perfect. 5 bedrooms, pool, guest house for Kirk, 3-car garage, Kirk added. Room for my Beamer and Dad's car. And the price? I asked, already knowing. Only 1.2 million, Mom said quickly. With your VA loan? My VA loan has a limit of 726 year $200, I interrupted, and requires me to live in the house. Mom waved her hand dismissively. There are ways around that. Your father's friend Tommy is a loan officer. He says, no. I closed the folder. That's fraud. It's family, Kirk snapped. Remember that concept? I smiled thinly. Oh, I remember family. Like when you took my college fund for your wedding to what's her name? How is Amanda, by the way? Kirk's face darkened. You always were a bitter little. Let's not fight. Dad cut in, speaking for the first time. Willow, we're just asking for help. We're desperate. I softened my voice, playing the role they expected. I know, Dad. That's why I've already started looking. In fact, I found a realtor who specializes in VA loans. His name is Scott, and he's happy to show us some options today. Mom's eyes narrowed. Today? But we haven't vetted this person. Tommy could. Scott's waiting at a property right now. 4 bedrooms, good school district, under VA limits. I stood up. Coming? The house was beautiful, not mansion beautiful, but solid upper middle class beautiful. Scott greeted us in the driveway, all professional charm in his crisp suit. Mrs. Lane, Mr. Lane, wonderful to meet you. He shook their hands, then turned to Kirk. And you must be the brother Willow mentioned. Whatever, Kirk muttered, already typing on his phone. Scott led us through the house. Mom's complaints started immediately. The kitchen's so basic. We'd need to upgrade everything. Marble countertops, at minimum, and this master bedroom barely fits a king size bed. Kirk needs the larger bedroom anyway for his furniture from the Reynolds estate. I caught Scott's eye and nodded slightly. He pulled out his tablet. Why don't we document everything you'd want to change? For the record. Mom lit up, launching into a detailed list of demands. Scott recorded everything, occasionally asking clarifying questions that got her to elaborate further. And of course, she finished, we'd need to add a pool. The neighbors would expect it. What neighbors? Kirk sneered, finally looking up from his phone. This neighborhood's practically suburban. It's what I can afford, I said quietly. Mom patted my arm. Oh, honey, don't be difficult. You can afford much more with a few creative solutions. Tommy says, I've already been approved for the VA loan, I interrupted. Maximum amount, everything legal and documented. But that's not enough. Kirk slammed his hand against the wall. You've got savings, combat pay. You can do better than this glorified starter home. Kirk, Dad warned, but Mom was nodding. You've been so selfish with your money, Willow. After everything we've done for you, everything you've done for me? The words came out sharp as knives. Tell me exactly what you've done for me. Silence fell. Scott busied himself with his tablet, pretending not to listen. We raised you, Mom finally said. We gave you a home, an education. You stole my education, I corrected. Remember. Or did you think I forgot? That money went to family, Kirk said, which you'd understand if you weren't such a I think, Scott interrupted smoothly, we should schedule another viewing when everyone's had time to consider their options. Mrs. Lane, I've documented all your requirements. Willow, should I send these to your lawyer for review? Mom's head snapped up. Lawyer? What lawyer? I shouldered my bag. Just standard VA loan procedure. Scott, please email everything to me. Mom, Dad, Kirk, I'll be in touch about next steps. As I walked out, my phone buzzed with a text from Nadine. How'd it go? I typed back. They took the bait. Every entitled word recorded. Moving to phase 2. Behind me, I could hear Mom already planning which walls she'd knock down in her new home. She had no idea she was planning her own downfall. Your mother posted another house on Facebook, Nadine said, sliding her phone across the coffee shop table. 6 bedrooms, wine cellar, tennis court. She's already telling people it's a done deal. I glanced at the listing, $2.3 million perfect. More evidence of intent. Drake, my lawyer, looked up from his laptop. The trust fund documentation came through. Your grandparents were explicit. The money was solely for your education. Your parents forged three signatures to access it. And the statute of limitations? I asked. Hasn't expired, especially since they concealed the fraud. He smiled grimly. They're still legally liable. Andrea, the forensic accountant I'd hired, spread out bank statements. They've been running a shell game for years, refinancing, credit cards, personal loans, all while maintaining their lifestyle. Classic house of cards. My phone buzzed. Mom again. Found the perfect house. Viewing at 2 p.m. Don't be late. The house was a Mediterranean style mansion with fountains out front. Scott met us there, maintaining his professional facade while secretly recording everything on his tablet. The foyer needs crystal chandeliers, Mom declared, her heels clicking on marble floors. And this living room, Kirk, darling, your piano would look wonderful by those windows. The media room could fit my gaming setup, Kirk added, actually showing interest for once. Dad trailed behind, looking increasingly uncomfortable. Valeria, maybe we should consider something smaller. Don't be ridiculous, Mom snapped. Willow can afford this. Right, honey? I kept my face neutral. How much are property taxes here? Oh, don't worry about details. Mom waved her hand. We'll handle all that once we're moved in. Now, about the pool house. Scott caught my eye. Mrs. Lane, could you repeat your plans for the entertainment area, for the record? Mom launched into a detailed description of future parties, social connections, and keeping up appearances. Every word was another nail in her coffin. That evening, I met Andrea at her office to review the day's recordings. Your mother's social media is a gold mine, she said, pulling up screenshots. Look, she's telling everyone how her military daughter is taking care of the family. She's even posted floor plans, bragging about renovations you'll supposedly fund. The gift that keeps on giving, I murmured. My phone lit up with a text from Kirk. Meet me at Murphy's bar. Now. I found him 3 whiskeys deep at the bar, his expensive shirt wrinkled. You're playing games, he slurred, acting all high and mighty with your military career and your perfect credit score. I'm trying to help, I said, not sitting down. Help? He laughed bitterly. You abandoned us, ran away to play soldier while I held the family together. Do you know what it's like, having all their expectations on your shoulders? No, I said quietly. I was never good enough for their expectations, remember? He grabbed my arm. You think you're better than us now, with your fancy lawyer meetings? I broke his grip easily, using a technique learned in combat training. How do you know about my meetings? Mom had Tommy follow you. He smirked. We're not stupid, little sister. Whatever you're planning, it won't work. Family protects family. Like you protected my college fund? His face darkened. That wedding was important. The Reynolds connection was supposed to set us all up for life. How'd that work out? He lunged at me. I sidestepped, letting him stumble past. You're drunk, I said. Go home to Mom and Dad's house while they still have one. Back in my hotel room, I called Drake. Kirk confronted me. They've been having me followed. Good, Drake said. Shows consciousness of guilt. Did you record the conversation? I patted the phone in my pocket, still recording. Every word. Perfect. I've drafted the legal documents. Once we serve them, they'll have 24 hours to respond. And the police? Financial Crimes Unit is ready. They're particularly interested in the forged documents. My phone buzzed, Mom sending another house listing, this one with a guest house bigger than my first apartment. How long until we move? She wrote. The social season starts soon. I forwarded the message to Drake, then called Nadine. They're having me followed, I told her. She sighed. Of course they are. They're panicking. You're not playing your assigned role anymore. Good, I said. Time they learned I'm not that obedient daughter anymore, the one they could steal from in silence with guilt trips about family duty. When do we end this? I looked at the calendar, at the date circled in red, the final house viewing where everything would come crashing down. 3 days, I said. Tell everyone to be ready. And are you ready? She asked softly. To destroy your family? I thought of Kirk's drunken rage, of Mom's entitled demands, of Dad's enabling silence. They destroyed our family 10 years ago, I said. I'm just making it official. Mom insisted on hosting a pre moving dinner at their soon to be foreclosed house. The dining room table was set with her best china, like the financial apocalypse wasn't looming. To new beginnings, Mom raised her wine glass. And to Willow, finally stepping up for her family. I took a small sip. Tell me again how you managed after I left. Mom brightened exactly as I'd planned. Oh, we did whatever it took, used every resource available, refinanced, borrowed, even sold my mother's jewelry. She smiled proudly. That's what real families do, sacrifice for each other. Scott, who I'd invited as my date, recorded every word on his phone under the table. Like when you sacrificed my college fund? I kept my tone light, curious. That again? Kirk rolled his eyes. Get over it. My wedding was an investment in our family's future. How much did you invest exactly? I asked innocently. The exact amount? $127,432. Dad said suddenly. Everyone turned to stare at him. And 18 cents. I remember the number. Mom's fork clattered against her plate. Holden, don't. Why not? I pressed. Let's talk about it. How did you access the account? It was in my name. It was a family account, Mom said sharply. We were trustees. Interesting. I pulled out my phone. Because I have the trust documents right here. Care to explain the signatures? The color drained from Dad's face. Kirk started to stand, but I raised my hand. Sit down. We're having a family discussion, remember? You ungrateful little. Kirk started. I have a better idea. I cut him off. Let's discuss your new house plans. Mom, tell Scott about the renovations you're planning, the ones you posted about on Facebook. Mom launched into her familiar list, apparently forgetting her earlier discomfort. Crystal chandeliers in every room, naturally, and the pool house needs a complete overhaul. Scott nodded, recording everything. And these renovations? You're expecting Willow to pay for them? Of course, Mom beamed. She has all that combat pay saved up, and her VA loan, which has strict legal requirements, I reminded her. She waved dismissively. Tommy says he can work around those, a few adjusted documents. More fraud, you mean? The word hung in the air like a guillotine. Dead silence fell. Dad's hands started shaking. It's not fraud, Mom said carefully. It's family helping family. Like when you helped yourself to my college fund? I stood up. Tell me, did you forge Grandma's signature before or after her stroke? Dad made a choking sound. Kirk lunged across the table, but I was faster, combat training taking over as I sidestepped his clumsy attack. Careful, brother. Assault's a serious charge. Would look bad in tomorrow's documentation. Documentation? Mom's voice went shrill. What documentation? The fraud charges, the police report, the civil suit. I smiled. All being filed first thing tomorrow. You wouldn't, Mom whispered. We're your family. Family doesn't steal from family, I quoted her own words back to her. We gave you everything, she shrieked. No, I said quietly. You took everything. And now? Now I'm taking it back. Dad stood up shakily. Valeria, maybe we should. Should what? She snapped. Let her ruin us? After everything we've sacrificed? Everything you sacrificed? I laughed. I sacrificed my education, my future. I went to war because you left me no choice. Oh, please, Kirk sneered. You're not the only one who suffered. My divorce was your own fault. I cut him off. Just like this will be. I nodded to Scott, who pulled out a thick envelope. These are copies of everything we have: bank records, forged documents, social media posts, planning fraud. You have 24 hours to respond to the legal notice. Or what? Mom's voice was dangerous. Or I send everything to the police, and your friends, and the Reynolds family. Every country club member you're so desperate to impress will know exactly what you did. You're bluffing, Kirk said, but his voice shook. I pulled out my phone, showing them the email draft. Try me. Mom started crying, perfectly timed tears. How could you do this to us? Funny. That's exactly what I asked 10 years ago. I stood up. 24 hours. Choose carefully. Willow, please. Dad tried one last time. We can work something out. I paused at the door. You had 10 years to work something out, to apologize, to make it right. I looked at each of them in turn. Time's up. Scott and I walked out, leaving them with their cold dinner and colder reality. In the car, he turned to me. Ready for tomorrow? I thought of the scared 18-year-old girl who'd walked into a recruitment office with nothing but rage and determination. I've been ready for 10 years. They're not going to show up, Scott said, checking his watch again. We were standing in the marble foyer of the mansion my mother had chosen for her grand social comeback. They'll come, I replied. Mom's too proud not to make an entrance. Andrea arranged her financial documents on the realtor's desk. Everything's ready. Bank records, trust fund documentation, proof of forgery. Drake adjusted his tie. And I've got the police on standby, one call away. Right on cue, Mom's Mercedes pulled up outside. She emerged in her best power suit, makeup perfect as if this were just another house viewing. Dad followed, looking 10 years older than yesterday. Kirk slouched behind them, nursing what was clearly a hangover. Darling, Mom air kissed my cheek like nothing had happened. The traffic was dreadful. Shall we start the tour? Actually, Scott interrupted smoothly, there's some paperwork we need to review first. Mom's smile tightened. Tommy assured me everything was in order. Tommy's not here, I said. But Andrea is. She's a forensic accountant. Andrea stepped forward, opening her folder. Mrs. Lane, would you care to explain these transactions? Mom's face went white as Andrea laid out bank statements, highlighted transfers, forged documents. This is ridiculous, Kirk cut in. We don't have to. Sit down, Drake said quietly. Unless you'd prefer to have this conversation at the police station. Dad sank into a chair, head in his hands. Valeria, maybe we should listen. Listen to what? Mom's voice rose. Our ungrateful daughter's attempts to blackmail us? After everything we've done for her? Everything you've done? I stepped forward. Let's talk about what you've done. Andrea? Andrea picked up the first document, fraudulent withdrawal of 132.18 from a protected trust fund, forged signatures of both trustees, one of whom was physically incapable of signing due to a stroke. That money was for family, Mom protested. It was for Willow's education, Drake corrected. Legally designated, properly documented. The fraud charges alone carry a potential 5-year sentence. Kirk lunged forward. You think you can threaten us? Sit down, I snapped in my best staff sergeant voice. He sat. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. You're going to sign a confession. You're going to agree to repayment terms, and you're going to do it now. Or what? Mom challenged. I nodded to Scott, who pulled up Mom's social media on the large presentation screen. Or every country club friend, every Reynolds connection, every social climber you've ever impressed sees the truth, the fraud, the foreclosure, everything. You wouldn't dare, she whispered. Try me. Dad stood up suddenly. I'll sign. Holden? Mom grabbed his arm. No, Valeria, it's over. He turned to me. You're right. What we did was wrong. I knew it then, and I know it now. Dad, don't. Kirk started. Enough! Dad's voice cracked like a whip. You too, Kirk. We did this, all of us, and now we pay for it. Drake slid the papers across the desk. Dad signed without hesitation. Mom stood frozen, watching her carefully constructed world crumble. This will ruin us. Like you ruined my future? I kept my voice steady. The difference is I'm giving you a choice. Sign the papers, accept the repayment plan, face the consequences privately, or don't sign and face them publicly. Some choice, Kirk muttered, better than the choice you gave me. Mom's hand trembled as she picked up the pen. How could you do this to your own mother? How could you do what you did to your own daughter? She signed. Kirk followed, not meeting anyone's eyes. What happens now? Dad asked quietly. Now? I gathered the signed documents. Now you leave this house you can't afford. You stop pretending to be something you're not. You get jobs, real jobs, and start paying back what you stole. And if we don't, Kirk challenged, I handed copies to Drake. Then these go to the police. Your choice. Mom stood up, straightening her designer jacket. I hope you're happy, destroying your family like this. No, Mom, I'm not happy, but I am free. I turned to Scott. We're done here. They filed out slowly, Mom rigid with fury, Dad slumped with defeat, Kirk seething with impotent rage. Their Mercedes looked suddenly shabby in the mansion's circular driveway. Andrea gathered her documents. That went better than expected. They'll try to wiggle out of it, Drake warned. Let them try. I watched the Mercedes disappear down the tree lined drive. Every attempt will just dig them deeper. Scott put a hand on my shoulder. Are you okay? I thought about the scared teenager I'd been, the soldier I'd become, the woman I was now. I'm better than okay. I'm finished. My phone buzzed. Nadine. Is it done? I typed back. It's done. They signed. No going back now. Her response came quickly. Good. Now you can finally move forward. Looking around the empty mansion my mother had dreamed of ruling, I smiled. Moving forward had never felt so right. The fallout was swift and merciless. Within a week, Mom's social circle imploded as the news of the foreclosure spread. The country club quietly revoked their membership. The Reynolds family blocked everyone's numbers. Tommy, the sketchy loan officer, suddenly retired when the bank started investigating his practices. I watched it unfold from a safe distance until Nadine called me. They're being evicted tomorrow, she said. Thought you should know. I drove past their house that evening. The Mercedes was gone, repossessed, according to Nadine. A moving truck sat in the driveway, half filled with the remnants of their artificial lifestyle. Kirk spotted me first. Come to gloat? He looked terrible, unshaven and wearing wrinkled clothes that still had designer labels. Just checking if you need help moving, I said. Help? He laughed bitterly. Like you helped by destroying our lives? You destroyed your own lives, I corrected. I just stopped enabling it. Mom appeared in the doorway, mascara smeared. How dare you show your face here? This isn't your house anymore, I reminded her. The bank made that clear. Because of you, she stormed down the driveway. We're living in a two-bedroom apartment. Do you know what people are saying about us? The truth, probably. Dad emerged from the garage carrying boxes. He looked older, but somehow lighter, like he'd set down a heavy burden. Willow, he said quietly. I've been meaning to call. Don't! Mom snapped. She doesn't deserve. Stop, Valeria. His voice was firm. Just stop. Mom's mouth opened and closed soundlessly. Kirk took a step back, shocked by this unprecedented defiance. I'm sorry, Dad continued. What we did to you was wrong. I knew it then, and I know it now. I should have stopped it. Holden? Mom looked betrayed. No, Valeria. I've spent 10 years watching you and Kirk spend money we didn't have, pretending to be people we're not. I helped steal our daughter's future because I was too weak to say no. That ends now. Kirk snorted. Great time for a backbone, Dad. We're literally being evicted. Maybe that's exactly what we needed, Dad said. All of us. A police car cruised by slowly, standard procedure for evictions. Mom flinched and hurried inside, her social shame greater than her anger. I got a job, Dad said quietly. Assistant manager at the hardware store. It's not much, but it's honest work. That's good, I said, meaning it. I found the original trust fund documents, he continued, in the attic. I'm giving them to Drake tomorrow. Should help with the case against Tommy. Kirk kicked a box. Traitor. No, Dad said. Just tired of living a lie. He turned to me. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know I understand what we did to you, and I'm sorry. Mom reappeared, clutching her last designer handbag. The moving truck wants payment. Kirk, call Tommy. Tommy's being investigated for fraud. I interrupted. Thanks to all those creative solutions he suggested? She deflated, aging years and seconds. Then what are we supposed to do? I pulled out my phone, made a call. Scott, remember that three-bedroom rental you mentioned? The one near the hardware store? Is it still available? Mom's eyes widened. A rental? We can't possibly. Yes, Dad cut her off. We can. We will. He turned to me. Thank you. Don't thank me, I said. The rent comes out of your repayment plan, and you'll need jobs. All of you. Kirk opened his mouth to protest, but Dad silenced him with a look. We'll manage, Dad said. It's time we learned how. Scott arrived 20 minutes later with rental papers. Mom signed without her usual drama, perhaps finally understanding her new reality. Kirk sulked, but signed when Dad insisted. As they loaded the last boxes, Dad approached me one more time. Your grandparents would be proud of you, he said. Not for punishing us. We deserved that, but for becoming who you are despite us. I felt tears threatening for the first time in years. I have to go. I know. He handed me a small box. Found this too. Thought you should have it. Inside was my high school graduation photo, the one where I'm holding my Stanford acceptance letter, the one taken the day before they stole my future. I'll make it right, Dad said, however long it takes. I watched them drive away in the moving truck, headed for their new, humbler life. My phone buzzed, Nadine asking if I was okay. Better than okay, I typed back. It's finally over. But as I looked at that old photo, the girl with dreams in her eyes and a Stanford letter in her hands, I wondered if anything was ever really over, or if it just changed shape, became something we could live with. Either way, I was ready to find out. Stanford's campus looked exactly like the brochures I'd obsessed over as a teenager. I parked my car and walked toward the admissions office, my boots clicking against the familiar paths I'd once dreamed of walking. Staff Sergeant, a voice called out. I turned to see Andrea hurrying toward me. The paperwork's ready. Inside the office, Dean Roberts waited with a stack of documents. Ms. Willow, we've reviewed everything. The trust fund fraud, your military service, your VA benefits. She smiled. Stanford would be honored to have you join our executive MBA program. A decade late, I said, but better than never. Actually, she shuffled through papers, your military leadership experience makes you a stronger candidate now than you were at 18. As I signed the acceptance forms, my phone buzzed. A text from Dad. First repayment installment sent. $2,130. Not much, but it's a start. They'd stuck to their word. Mom had found work as a sales associate, no longer shopping at high end boutiques, but working in one. Kirk was delivering packages for FedEx, his BMW replaced by a delivery van. Their new apartment was small but paid for with honest work. Your family's repayment plan is impressive, Andrea noted, reviewing their latest financial report. Your father's been especially diligent. He's trying, I admitted. They all are. Speaking of trying, she nodded toward the window. Mom stood in the parking lot, looking lost and out of place in her non designer clothes. I walked out to meet her. How did you know I'd be here? Your father, she said. He thought he thought I should see what we took from you. She looked around the campus at the students rushing to class with their dreams intact. It's beautiful. It is. I've been seeing a therapist, she said abruptly. She's helping me understand why I always pushed so hard for status, for appearances. She twisted her hands together. My own mother never thought I was good enough. I did the same to you. Mom, no, let me finish. She straightened her shoulders. I was wrong. What we did was wrong. I know saying sorry isn't enough, but I am. Sorry. And proud. Proud? Of you, not for punishing us. We deserved that, but for never giving up. For building yourself without us. For being stronger than I ever was. Nadine appeared from around the corner. Ready for the campus tour? Mom took a step back. I should go. My shift starts in an hour. Actually, I said, surprising myself, would you like to join us? She blinked back tears. Really? Really. We walked the campus together, Mom quiet and thoughtful. At the business school, Dean Roberts greeted us again. Your daughter's military experience and leadership skills are exceptional, she told Mom. She'll be an asset to our program. Mom didn't preen or try to take credit. Instead, she simply said, I know she will. After the tour in the parking lot, Mom hesitated. Kirk asks about you sometimes. He's different now, working hard, going to therapy too. One step at a time, I said. She nodded, understanding. One step at a time. That evening, I sat with Nadine in my new apartment near campus, looking at the acceptance letter. How does it feel? She asked. Getting back what they took? I'm not getting it back, I realized. I'm getting something different, something I earned on my own terms. My phone buzzed with a message from Scott. House hunting tomorrow? I smiled, typing back, yes, something modest, near campus. No marble fountains required. Another text arrived, from Dad. Proud of you, kid. Not just for Stanford, for everything. Nadine raised her glass. To new beginnings. I thought about the scared teenager I'd been, the soldier I'd become, and the student I would be, about mom's small steps toward change, dad's quiet redemption, even Kirk's stumbling attempts to rebuild. No, I said, to earned beginnings. We clinked glasses as the California sunset painted Stanford's buildings in gold. My future stretched before me. Not the one stolen a decade ago, but one I'd fought for and won, one where forgiveness might be possible, not because it was demanded by family obligation, but because it was chosen by family growth. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from the therapy group Mom had mentioned. Family healing session, tomorrow 6 p.m., all welcome. I stared at it for a long moment, then typed, maybe next week? Baby steps. Earned trust. Real change. That's what real family should be about. I looked at my Stanford acceptance letter again, running my fingers over the embossed logo. Not a stolen dream anymore, but a hard won reality. My reality. And this time, no one could take it away.